In this video, we're going to be talking about 3D printing miniatures and the new 3D printing economy. And also, by the way, if you're interested in this lovely new t-shirt, then I suggest you check out the merchandise tab on this YouTube page. But back to 3D miniatures. I don't have that much experience with them. In fact, the only one that I've ever designed and printed myself is this tiny little thing that I'm holding right now. This was a base that I printed off in a 3D printing class, and clearly, because, it was done quickly and with a traditional filament extruded printing. I don't know any of the terms. Anyways, this is basically the old way of doing it with the extruded filament stuff. But that never really worked out all that great for miniatures. But the new stuff, the new stuff is so much better looking. And that's why I went on eBay and bought some Kobolds, which came with some amazing bases. I must say, this is resin printing, obviously. You see the little supports there. But you look at the miniature base and it's just like, it's so tough. And the Kobolds themselves have some very nice detail. I ended up comparing these to some traditional pewter miniatures as well. But this is the first thing that I noticed. In my usual ham-handed manner, I managed to break one of the Kobolds right off its one leg. However, I was able to glue it back. And that was not the only misstep that happened with these miniatures. These were designed by Cast and Play, which is a Patreon-funded operation. And they were sold by a licensed printer of Cast and Play designs. And I purchased these off eBay. But overall I was very impressed with the relative durability and the sharp detail of these resin 3D printed miniatures. I mean, it's very interesting. This is the first time me seeing a proper resin printed miniature in person. And this is the result after I finished painting them with a very simple paint job, the session that I did. And you can easily tell, the one on the right, while I was dry brushing, I snapped off his sword. And this is a first for me. I've never snapped off a piece of a miniature during painting before. Here you can see I'm comparing the sizes with both a pewter kobold and a Reaper Bones kobold. The pewter kobold is from Rebel Minis and is from the Dark Hold kobold set. So it is tough to do a direct comparison. You can't really buy a pewter or PVC kobold without buying a whole set, usually. I guess you could find them individually on eBay, but then you would probably be paying a similar $2 to $3 price that I've seen the 3D kobolds at. And of course, this is where your friendly neighborhood game store will be of great help, because you can probably find some of the Reaper Bones kobolds or something similar there for a relatively inexpensive price without having to deal with shipping. Speaking of shipping, Etsy is an option for getting 3D miniatures from local printers. I am going to attempt to try to do that. Quality comparison, they are of similar note. Obviously, the Reaper Bones PVC, this is one of the original Reaper Bones, doesn't have the details that the 3D printed Kobold has, and doesn't come with an amazing looking base. So, while I don't have the money or space for a 3D printer right now, I can certainly enjoy the new economy of 3D printing. Designers no longer have to work for a company that makes miniatures. They can actually sell their designs directly to the people that want to print and sell miniatures via websites like Patreon. And people like me, who don't have 3D printers, can go on eBay and Etsy and find some amazing deals for these new ranges of miniatures. And this is a very recent thing. Just a couple years ago, this model didn't really exist. If you want to hear more about this, I suggest you go over to the Tabletop Minions website. And Adam Smasher over there has actually done a very interesting video where he talks about, the whole new economic landscape that has sort of opened up recently, and how this might actually be a better alternative to Kickstarter for wargaming in particular. So here's something very important to note. I am unfamiliar with 3D resin printers. I am unfamiliar of this new landscape we find ourselves in. So I cannot recommend in good conscientiousness, I cannot recommend that you go on eBay and buy these miniatures like I did. This was around $10, including shipping, for these 3 miniatures. That certainly seems like a very good deal, and considering, the relatively minor issues that I had, I probably could come up with some sort of just quick review, but, barring the issues, which again, this is the first time that I've had a miniature break, both when I was just prepping it and when I was actually dry brushing it. That is an absolute first for me. Usually I'm dealing with cheap miniatures, and so clearly resin miniatures have issues that mass-produced resin miniatures generally don't. But again, I can't make a final call on this because I haven't dealt with enough of these 3D printed resin miniatures. So I have invested some money on Etsy to get a couple more of these from that source, and from a couple different printers. So I'm not spending a whole bunch of money, because again, Etsy is very forgiving when it comes to the free shipping and whatnot. So I'm going to see how those turn out. And once I have compared the durability and the detail on those miniatures, then I will come out with another video, and I will give kind of my full sort of recommendations when it comes to purchasing 3D miniatures. From what I've seen so far, I am probably going to recommend that those in the US or those that are that have access to Etsy, I'm probably going to recommend that you use Etsy unless for some reason you really need the miniatures quickly. And I'm probably going to recommend that you only purchase through authorized sellers or authorized printers. If someone is a licensed printer of a company like Cast and Play, which is the company that does the Frostlands collection, of which these Kobolds are a part of, then I would say that you're going to be probably better off ordering from somebody like that. However, I don't know. With my Etsy purchases, I have purchased from both someone who is specifically a licensed printer, and I did get some other miniatures off of eBay, which appear to be just 3D miniatures that somebody who is not a licensed printer, it looks like just somebody with a thing, for whatever reason, they didn't want these miniatures that they printed, or maybe they're just doing it as a way to raise a little bit of money, I don't know. And those are looking pretty good too. So again, I'm going to come out with a second video where I will have my more complete thoughts on this topic, but I hope the footage in this video was helpful for anybody who is in my position, who wants to take advantage of the new system of designers going through fan funding to provide their designs to then people who in America with 3D printers are printing off those designs and selling them directly to customers. It's all very interesting, it's all very exciting, but I don't want to get all hyped up because again, there's so many amazing companies that are already doing business in the US, such as Stonehaven Miniatures, who do pewter miniatures, such as the larger companies like Reaper Miniatures, who do both the pewter miniatures, and they are bringing in PVC manufacturing to the US with their new line of USA miniatures. So there's a lot of companies that are embracing the new small manufacturing that's going on in the United States. It's all very interesting and exciting, but I want to have a leveled view when I talk about these things, because people do somewhat respect my opinion, and I am not somebody who's just going to automatically be like super excited about something that they're not fully invested in or not fully interested in. So again, buyer beware in any of these scenarios, and I will let you know about my experiences in the next video.
Have a great day, and as always, thank you for watching the video.
Kobold!